We all feel sad sometimes. It's just part of being human. But what happens when that sadness just sticks around and doesn't go away? Today, we're going to talk about chamkam, or depression, and we're looking at it as something so much more than a feeling. It's a really complex health condition that affects literally millions and millions of people all over the world. Just take a look at this number for a second. 280 million. That's the World Health Organization's best guess for how many people are living with depression right now across the globe. This isn't some niche issue. It's a massive global health challenge that touches countless lives, families, and communities. So what exactly is depression then? Well, the most important thing to know is that it's a recognized medical illness. It's not just a bad mood, and it's definitely not a sign of weakness. The clinical definition points to a persistent sadness or a loss of interest in things that used to bring you joy, and it gets in the way of your ability to just function day to day. And this right here is a really, really important distinction to make. On one side, you have normal sadness. It's usually temporary, tied to something specific, and you can still find moments of joy. But with a depressive disorder, that dark cloud is persistent. We're talking at least 2 weeks, and it just sucks the pleasure out of almost everything. It can have a devastating impact on your work, your relationships, and your physical health. That distinction is absolutely crucial, and it leads us right into our first big section, learning how to recognize the signs. Because knowing what to look for, whether it's in yourself or in someone you care about, is always the very first step toward understanding and getting help. So how do you actually spot it? It's tricky because the symptoms aren't always what you'd expect, and they can look different for everybody. So let's break them down into 3 main categories to make it a little clearer. Okay, first up, we have the psychological symptoms. This is what's going on inside a person's mind and heart. And it goes so far beyond just being sad. It can be a profound feeling of emptiness, of hopelessness, and this crushing sense of guilt. Even tiny decisions can feel completely overwhelming, and in the most severe cases, it can tragically lead to thoughts of self-harm. Now, it is so important to understand that depression isn't all in your head, not at all. It shows up in the body in very real ways. Someone might literally move or speak more slowly. You might see huge changes in their appetite or weight. There could be unexplained aches and pains that just won't go away. And that deep, bone-weary fatigue and major sleep problems, either sleeping all the time or not at all, are incredibly common signs. So with all of that going on internally and physically, it's no surprise that these feelings start to spill over into a person's social life. That complete loss of energy and interest naturally leads to withdrawal. Someone with depression will often start avoiding their friends, dropping hobbies they once loved, and really struggling to keep up with life at home or at work. It can be incredibly isolating. So what's behind all this? What actually causes it? Well, the truth is there's no single simple answer. Depression isn't triggered by just one thing. It's more like this complex web of factors, and that web is a little different for every single person. You can see from this chart, stressful life events are a big piece of the puzzle for sure, but genetics are a huge factor too. If depression runs in your family, your own risk goes up. And then you throw in the biological stuff like brain chemistry and hormones, along with things like chronic physical illness and even personality traits. They all kind of swirl together and can make someone more vulnerable. And that vulnerability can be activated by specific triggers. Really tough life events like losing someone you love, going through a divorce, major financial stress, or battling a long-term illness. Any of these can push someone into a depressive episode. For some women, the massive changes after childbirth can lead to postpartum depression and loneliness. Loneliness is such a powerful factor. Our source material uses this really powerful Vietnamese phrase to describe what happens in your mind. Vòng xoáy suy nghĩ tiêu cực. It translates to a whirlpool of negative thoughts. And that's such a perfect image, isn't it? It's this relentless downward spiral where negative thoughts just create more negative feelings, which then create even more negative thoughts. It feels impossible to break free on your own. Now, while depression can affect literally anyone, the data shows that certain groups do face a higher risk. For instance, women are diagnosed up to 3 times more often than men, and that's partly due to things like hormonal factors and major life events like childbirth. We also see that the peak age for it to start is often in a person's 40s, and, like we said before, family history is a really significant risk factor. Okay, so understanding the signs and the causes is so important because the risks of leaving depression untreated are really severe. And please hear this is the most important message of all. There is a clear path forward. There is hope and there is absolutely help available. We have to talk about this directly with all the seriousness it deserves. That profound, overwhelming hopelessness that comes with depression is a major factor in suicide. More than 700,000 people worldwide die by suicide every single year. Now, that statistic isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to show us why taking action is so incredibly, urgently important. And that leads us to the most crucial point of this entire conversation. I want this to be the thing you remember. Despite all the darkness it brings, depression is treatable. Recovery isn't just some vague wish. It is a reality for millions of people. No matter how dark and impossible things feel, getting better is possible. So, what does taking action actually look like? Well, it starts by breaking the silence. Just talking to one person you trust. From there, the next most critical step is to seek professional help from a doctor or therapist. Treatment works, whether that's therapy, medication, or combination. And you can support that treatment with self-care, like trying to eat well, get some exercise, and improve your sleep. But above all, you have to be patient with yourself. Recovery really is a journey, and nobody has to walk that journey alone. The support, the patience, and the love from family and friends can be an unbelievable source of strength. Sometimes just being there to listen without judgment can make all the difference in the world. So we're going to end with this question, and it's not just something to think about, it's something to act on. What will you do to care for your own mental health and for the health of those around you? Recognizing the signs, helping to break the stigma, and just knowing that help is out there, these are such powerful tools. How will you use them to look after yourself and the people in your life? Thanks for joining us.
Health is the most precious gift. If this video helped you or someone you love, please like, subscribe, and share so more families can stay safe and healthy.